Hello, I'm AndreasG and welcome back to game 2 between the Titan and Diskraip. We are in PA League Division 2, best out of 3 between these two amazing players, which both likely are to fight over the top of their league. That means it's very important that the players win this game than between, because if they don't, they possibly give away a very important game to one of their largest competitors. Now we are going to test their abilities on the naval map. We are now looking at Arctic. This is a different version of Pacific, I would almost say. So it's a naval map, players spawning here on their islands respectively, and in between you have four, including this one, major islands with tons of mexes and also the water in between. So naval, of course, being important, air, of course, being important for map control, and also amphibious units is going to be very much important. And with that, we do see the players spawning in. So at the South Pole, opening in the water, going naval factory first over to air, we see the TheTitan01 in rock black hair. On the other side of the planet, we see Diskraip, again going in his purple pinkish color. Him, however, is not opening naval, he's opening air. So a very interesting choice here, with the two players going two different strats. Diskraip is going to take use of the air fabbers, something I really do like myself. Titan, on the other hand, is going to make use of naval fabbers mainly, and then move over to some more air and some more naval. None of them choosing to go bot factory or tank factory with the drops, which both also is viable strats. But that is the thing with this map, there is not just one way to play it, there is multiple. And both of these players doing viable builds here, so it's all about how they use their builds, and if they manage to get the expansions, get the factory count up, and get the tier 2 up. So very interesting choice here out from Diskraip. Decides to split his air fabbers. That means everything is going to go up slower, and therefore is at greater risk of losing something. And Titan should be able to see this air fabber and likely to take it out if he paid attention. So that is not good for Diskraip. However, Titan does not have any fighters out quite yet. I would do like to see his fighters starting to protect his air fabbers. Titan himself getting a air fabber out. He's gonna grab these 6 very closed mexes here. You can lock down this area. That's very good for you. 7 times 6 in metal income, which we all know is 42. So that's a very nice area. However, Diskraip manages to take it down. It's a huge victory there for Diskraip, who neglects this expansion. It's not that easy to secure, however, as you can be attacked from both naval and from amphibious units and from air, and 2 sides as well. So it's not easy to grab these, but it was an attempt regardless, and the reward is very big if you do manage to secure it. So Diskraip's 2 fabbers is actually staying alive, so that's very important for him, as that will be his income for this entirety of the beginning of the game, until he now gets into the naval, and he's going to start with naval fabbers. But basically, if Titan were able to snipe these early air fabbers, that will set a huge stopper to all of Diskraip's economy. So it's very important for him to have kept them alive, and that gives him a fair chance here. It's a very risky opening from him, but regardless, very high reward. Titan is taking advantage of the naval barnacle, which is the combat fabber on the sea, reclaiming 45 metal per second, so that's huge income. Without it, Diskraip would likely be ahead. However, now Titan is ahead due to that, so not good from Diskraip, but I would like to see get going that himself too, to make sure he doesn't fall too much behind. Titan out with gunboats, neglect all this naval expansion from Diskraip. However, he's now found that Diskraip hasn't really gone too much naval whatsoever at all, and hasn't grabbed this quite yet. He does manage to kill this air fabber, but that's just after he finishes this spot factory. So that's unlucky out from Titan, and good for Diskraip, who manages to keep it going. The air fabber here is being sniped with the metal extractor 99% through. I do believe, yeah, now it's decaying, so that's a massive victory for Titan. Manages to keep him within distance, or out of distance, I should rather say, by making sure he doesn't get even more mexes over here. However, he has gotten full, which is quite a bit, so nice there from Diskraip. Both of the players now have definitely had a pretty successful opening. Diskraip with more map control, and if Titan stops reclaiming his comm, which he likely has to do soon, since it's going down to 60% now, that is going to put Diskraip ahead. So this is basically the only thing that keeps Titan in position at the moment, which can be pretty crucial, as you do have to start getting in successful raids, or I do think Diskraip is going to get the better of Titan in the early game. What Diskraip doesn't have a lot of quite yet is naval, however, but it's done a hardcore transition into it, going 3 naval factories now, 4 with this out here, and that is going to secure him a lot of naval presence. I really like this move from Diskraip, going 2 air factories first, securing a lot of the islands with those air fabbers, getting successfully 3 out of the 4 islands with that, and with that a lot of the metal, and then transitioning over to naval factories to secure the sea, as the Titan is likely to respond to his previous thing, even though he hasn't really done that. Moved over to naval factory. With that, he can go kaijus up on these islands if he so wishes, or use krakens, or use leviathans. Those 3 being, according to me, the most realistic and best options to go in this naval factory, as well as a naval fabber tier 2, as we do see out of the factory. Stingray can also be used, but in this scenario it's not that good, as Diskraip doesn't have that much air. You would rather use some narvals for that. Diskraip getting some very successful raids here with his bombers, or kills, strikes, whatever you want to call it, and it's really keeping a lot of his base safe. Titan not managing to come in with any of the naval, because he just meets the ear of Diskraip taking out his subs. So very nicely doing so. Titan himself expanding to this naval backside here. It's usually a bit of a dead zone in the game, so very smart to do so. Manages to get up the Galata turret, and with that he neglects all the air presence in this area. Diskraip out with a raiding the base here. However, here he finds the bot factory already being up, which does have a lot of health, so likely not going to be able to take that down. Titan, however, himself is getting some doxes out of this bot factory here, and does start to pick on these expansions of Diskraip. That means he actually needs to get up some defenses. You do want to keep these expansions alive, because take care, for instance, this is 4 megs is very vulnerable to these doxes from Titan, very easily supported or secured if he just has a double laser turret, which he does not have. So it's unfortunate for Diskraip. However, he is still ahead. The only term though that he's not ahead is in terms of technology. Diskraip, the Titan deciding to go tier 2 naval factory, starting to take advantage of the tier 2 eco. Very good option, a very good choice. Diskraip himself is lagging behind, and I'm afraid that is a dangerous thing to be lagging behind in, as the tier 2 eco is now pushing Titan back into the game. However, his comm is still being reclaimed, it seemed like, and it's down to 24%, so it's getting dangerously close to the danger zone, as only a couple of torpedoes potentially could have taken it out. So if these subs here were to come in here and target down the comm, he could go down. That's danger of reclaiming your commander in naval, as subs do do push in with a lot of damage. The torpedoes does eat up that damage quite quick. So if we still look in terms of general map presence, Diskraip is significant ahead. However, the tier 2 economy is there for Titan. But now Diskraip is pushing in with his barracudas. So the question is if he can actually spot this commander low in health. He does manage to get the tier 2 Fabe, a very, very big victory for Diskraip. It has built quite a bit, but still just taking it down costs Titan quite a bit, And in the meantime, he's going to get up his own advanced naval factory, and with that, he's going to get his own tier 2 Faber, which can give him tier 2 mixes as well. He's still ahead. That just says a lot about his general map presence over Titan, since he actually has a couple of tier 2 mixes. But that's just temporarily, as more tier 2 mixes is going to come up with his tier 2 advanced Faber. So Diskraip is there for going it himself. Very good indeed. So a bit of a proxy base out from Diskraip here in the middle of the base. Not sure what I think about this naval factory, as it is in sort of a danger zone here. Down goes 2 of his Fabers here. He's going to manage to secure it with his 4 Barracudas. However, now Titan is aware and is like going to push more units over here to stop this naval factory. So it might just be a risky play from Diskraip. We'll have to see. Then again, his units doesn't have to travel such a long way to get out there. The game is frozen to me. Not entirely sure what's going on here. However, I do want to point out that Diskraip himself is going a lot of bot factories. Can nicely raid the base here. However, most of Titan's presence is in the naval. And my internet connection is having a hard time here. It certainly seems like. I'll have to try to fix that. Use it. No clue what's going on. And I lost connection to the game. I tried to reconnect. Please excuse me for this internet connection. Seems to be dropping out, even though, despite of the fact that I'm using fiber at the moment. So I'm just hoping the Exodus eSports stream isn't suffering from this. Do not know how it's dealing with the delay. And we are back just in time to see Titan pushing in with Krakens on Diskraip base. It's going to eat up this tier 2 naval factory if Diskraip doesn't kill these Krakens quite quick. And it's down on 20% here, getting dangerously low. It does seem like he's going to manage to save it, however, with air. Or is it? No, it's going down. A massive victory for Titan. And there doesn't seem to be any tier 2 naval Fabers managing to survive that. So the Kraken's really doing a good job for Titan there. Really like to see that. On the other hand, he's getting up his tier 2 naval Faber himself. He's gonna see if he can get the metal lead for the first time in this game. Diskraip on his behalf though, or on his part, is getting in with the push himself. I really think this push is very important for him to be inflicting some damage on Titan's base. If he doesn't manage to do so, he's in danger of falling behind because of the tier 2 economy. And I'm having some stutters here. I'm sorry about that. Let's hope it's better soon. Importantly though, Diskraip up with the tier 2 bot factory is going to get some locusts, which can do some massive damage to Titan's base if used correctly. If scouted correctly beforehand and then sent into the right place, it can very aggressively eat up the entirety of that base. And now getting up a tier 2 Faber himself does give him access to all this economy on this island, which does secure it somewhat. And we do know his tier 2 presence in his base here is neglected by all these kaijus. So that's very nice. Titan himself though, going up with advanced torpedo launchers, secures against tier 1 subs quite efficiently, as they have a much higher DPS and slightly bigger range than what these Barracudas does. So you need either significant numbers and taking big losses to push in, or you need longer range units like Leviathans or Stingrays. The Titan seems to be the one in the driver's seat in this game at the moment. However, Diskraip still owns most of the map control, still owns the economy lead. If we look in terms of Fabus, he's ahead. In terms of factory, he's ahead. In terms of count, he's ahead. Still, Titan seems to be the one who manages to push in and really deal some damage to his opponent's base. Diskraip himself not being too successful. So Titan having a concentrated base with tier 2 economy, Diskraip having a blown out one with tier 1. So then again, if Diskraip first manages to push in and deal some damage, that is very, very much significant, as it has a greater impact on Titan's economy. He does manage to get one of the tier 2 mechs down, it seems like, but one down is just being replaced by another one. And Titan is ahead in terms of economy in this game. Very important from Diskraip now that he gets up some from himself. Moving Locust together with Naval makes him very, very slow, which we are not very much used to. Let's just take a look at the basis of the two players here. Diskraip sitting on all the map control, and if this Locust run is successful, he might as well be taking out the entirety of Titan's economy, as it is so much concentrated. You do really need to scout in with the ear before he moves in with the Locust, however, as not doing so puts him in great risk of failure. If we do look at Diskraip's economy though, that we haven't discussed quite as much, it is suffering massively from Titan's loss rates. It's down to 34 efficiency, which is really, really not good. It means that all these factories we were talking about can produce at more than 30-40% efficiency, and with that they are using a lot of energy and don't really get so much produced. However, this Locust can do some massive damage. Krakens come in and saves the day, but still a lot of the base is taken down, including a tier 2 metal extractor and some tier 1 economy and a couple of factories. And with that, we see Titan down to 6 factories, which is not very much in this stage of the game. 17 minutes in. You really need some more factories, in my opinion, as you really want to use this economy. And you can't really do that if you don't have the factories, or you just have to build Fabus and static defense. Not really good in the long run, especially not on a naval map. Out with some nice naval raiding parties from Titan though. Neglects this naval expansion from Diskraip, takes down the tier 1 naval factory here on the backside, giving him access to fast units, raiding from the backside, as well as some fast replacements of the Fabus. Really not good from Diskraip here though. Does not even manage to secure his very central base mexes here. Up with the tier 2 Faba finally in the naval once again, and the tier 2 advanced naval factory really has to keep it alive this time around. Otherwise he's in danger of once again falling behind in terms of economy. Has been more or less in the driving seat for this entirety of this game. However, raiding parties like this one with Krakens like this one seems to be successful all the time, and Diskraip still doesn't see it coming. That might be because it doesn't take use of a radar, such a simple tool to just be aware of what's coming in. So that would be my major tips to him. Just use the radar, and that way you can see everything that comes in. Same goes for Titan, who himself doesn't have a radar either. Finally getting one on the front line, but he still have blind zones. And with a commander so low in health, you really do want to know what's approaching you. So finally, this map control from Diskraip is starting to show, as he's getting tier 2 economy up, and with that he has the opportunity to shoot away from Titan and his economy, and he's successful at doing so. Now almost 100 ahead. He's actually placing naval mines at not every, but most of the very significant choke points, and that's a unit we don't see used a lot. What this basically means is that Titan has to build this combat naval Fabus himself, otherwise he will not be able to spot the mines. So this is a bit of a tricky situation, as his raiding parties will not be successful if you don't have anything that can scout these mines. He's luckily staying outside of the range with his Kraken, but it's just a matter of time before he pushes in. The air race is starting to get significant again, as Titan is now up in 4 air factories. Diskraip himself just... Oh no, he's built a ton with his commander here. So him also is getting heavy invested in terms of air. And let's not forget about all these bot factories here and the tier 2 and all the locals. Let's just keep that in track so we don't lose it. A very, very significant raiding force out here from Diskraip. In here we see Titan suffering from the same we talked about earlier with Diskraip. He just cannot see what's approaching him because of radar. It's all the way up here, so he doesn't see it until it's very, very close. And that can be very much dangerous. He does get a tier 2 Fabric from Diskraip. However, he's triggered a chain of events here. And in comes the Locust, in comes the submarines here. And this might very well be GG for Titan. If they can deal some very important damage here, possibly even take down the com, that will be GG, I think. However, the Kraken seems to save the day in terms of countering the Locust, a very hard counter. Some tier 2 mexes go down though, and same with some air factories. Now Titan is just sitting on 1 air factory and an advanced air factory, which I've seen him build recently. Is that going to be enough to stop all Diskraip's air? I'm not sure myself. The tier 2 factory is significant, however the efficiency is lacking for Titan as well. He's really finding himself in a bit of a hole here. Seems like he's fallen down a well and really just seems to be in a very rough position. Maybe a solution is to transition over to Kaijus and start to counter this island expansions, as that seems to be the advantage Diskraip has on him. But then again, the door seems to be sort of... Is it closing? I don't know, because he's doing some very successful raiding here with the Kaijus here shooting up. Just getting enough hate to shoot over the height of this plateaus. So manages to take out 2 mexes here and could take out 2 mexes there too. That would push Diskraip's economy down with about 60. Diskraip trying to get some mines for himself. Not in a very, very timely situation here. This force here will not be able to see the mines. So that is very good for him. So if we do look at Titan's abilities to scout those mines, he doesn't have a single unit whatsoever that will be able to see those mines. If we look over at the unit count though, Diskraip just is significant ahead. 406 to 140. Massive lead for Diskraip. I think that's a result of superior economy over a significant amount of time, as well as some good trading from Diskraip. Then again, we have to remember a lot of those units is stationed at the land here and comes in the form of a docks. In the air presence too, Diskraip is getting a tier 2 air factory himself that counters Titan's tier 2 air factory. And with all these tier 1 factories, he's actually ahead in terms of air control. And over time, I do think he can put that to use. However, both players is lacking in terms of efficiency, so that air force won't grow as fast as it could have done. But that is alright. Some locust out from Diskraip staying still. That makes him a target of these bombers. Maybe it's even a bait there, as Diskraip goes in and trades with Titan. Titan's air is vanishing, and with that, Diskraip has gotten himself the air control if he can rebuild that air force quite quickly. So there's a lot he can do with that, as there's not a lot of anti-air capabilities within this base itself. You can also raid a lot of this tier 2 economy around the base of Titan very, very much successfully. So some nice expansions from Titan. This is what keeps him into the game, or this tier 2 economy right outside of his base. So this game is really transitioned into a very slow game, where you just have pushes and counter pushes, where it's all about the moves, what they do to the game 5 minutes ahead to turn down the economy slightly, so you get that very small unit edge 5 minutes into the future. That's basically what it comes down to here. And here we finally see another successful push from Titan. Comes in from two angles with his Krakens, and is starting to pick on the economy of Diskraip once again. He is forced to respond here, but however, in his air he don't have a lot of air to ground capabilities, and all his services on the wrong side of the planet. So it seems like his tier 2 factory will suffer. However, one Kraken is built in time is going to start to do work on this one, and with that it's going to keep it alive. However, this Kraken have the ability to push in and kill a lot of significant economy for Diskraip, including 3 tier 2 maxes, and that would put Titan very, very much ahead. Not doing so, however, and Diskraip himself is out with a very, very significant pushing force, raiding force, whatever, with Krakens here. If he can target down these torpedo launchers as well as these 2 Krakens, he will successfully be able to take down a tier 2 factory as well as some tier 2 mexes. Would be very, very important for him. Titan, however, there it goes. The last Kraken in defense. Another one is out. If he can target this one down and start to do work, I think it's enough in defense for now. For a Titan, very, very, very significant. However, the Kraken is going down, and with that it gives Diskraip free rage over this area with this Kraken. So very nice for him. I would like to see some gunships out from Diskraip now. There are some air to ground capabilities. This factory here finally stopping to produce the Locust, which were hard countered by the Krakens, starting to produce Slammers instead, which we do now see is raiding very much successfully. The tier 2 torpedo is finished by this tier 2 Faba, but does get taken down before it inflicts any damage on Diskraip force. Down goes the Fabas 2. It's a very big victory for Diskraip, who's now taking down this tier 2 naval factory too. Here comes the Kraken, as we've seen, takes down some of Diskraip's economy. However, in terms of unit, Diskraip is even more ahead, 400 to 120. I'm surprised Titan is still keeping track of everything here, still managing to stay in the game, as Diskraip has just controlled the entirety of this map for the entirety of the game. Titan's successful raiding is everything that keeps him alive. However, if he loses these 4 Krakens to these mines, that might very well put him in a very bad situation, as that is a very significant amount of his units. But the mines of... Wait, what? Apparently you can dodge some mines with the Krakens if you're very much happy or lucky. Excuse me, my English is terrible today. So 2 of the Krakens is getting through. Do even tank some of the mines, and is now starting to work through the space of Diskraip. This has been a major weak point for him this entirety of this game. Just too stubborn and too proud to put up a radar. Very, very bad from Diskraip. That could stop so many of these raids from Titan that just eats through his base one bit at a time and forces him to rebuild all the time. And I do think with the radar, with the units in his base, I think Diskraip would have won this game already. But all creds to Titan, who manages to take advantage of the weaknesses of Diskraip. Now stacking up on advanced torpedo launchers here from Titan is ready to counter everything that comes from the sub. I would like to see a transition in the unit composition for Diskraip over to more long range units like Leviathan, or over to hover units like the Krakens to counter all these torpedoes, because they will just keep killing these subs to come in and keeping Titan into the in the game. However, the economy is almost double ahead for Diskraip. So Diskraip once again rebuilding his base, nicely doing so, but is it a bit late? That it's not. Excuse me, it's just not. But it's just very, very unlucky for him. It's suboptimal, and we still don't see that. Oh, here we come. Finally, the tier 2 radar, which now will see everything that comes in. Finally answering our prayers now. Very, very nicely indeed. Titan is keeping on building these Krakens though. He's going to send out more forces to raid the base of Diskraip. Diskraip, which doesn't actually have a lot of naval at the moment. A lot of his factory seems to be idle. So where is all his economy going into? That's a very, very good question actually. Doesn't seem like he's going anywhere at the moment. You do have a lot of tier 2 factories though to keep alive, so likely into that. However, we do now see the float that we could predict very, very much. So this one drags even further on. It's now a 30-minute marathon. Now we do have gunships out from Diskraip. It's going to try to win the game from the air. Titan not with a lot of anti-air capabilities, as we said many times before. If this force is used correctly, if these gunships is kept alive and away from the comm, they can inflict quite a bit of damage. More locusts going about. We do know they're hard countered by the Kraken, however, so they do not dare to move off this island at this stage in the game. Another raiding party from Titan. This one should successfully be countered by Diskraip, as it's just one left when they reach the base. Ooh, very, very close with the tier 2 Faber. Not too good. However, he manages to stay away. Here in comes another raiding party with Krakens for Titan. This time around might be eating up the entirety of this base. And what is Diskraip doing? He's swapped over to narwhals instead. This is very, very weird choice out from Diskraip. But in the meantime, we do see the comm snipe with Kestrels. What a game! I feel like all my energy is just flown out of me, as this game was just so intense. That was insane. So here we see the danger of reclaiming in the naval. Not the submarines that finishes the comm this time around, however, it was the gunships. So very nice from Diskraip to managing to see what was in the way of him in victory. However, it seemed to me that he had multiple chances up until this point to win this game. If he just could have used the radar, produced more defenses in terms of submarines, etc., to counter the kaijus, it seems like he just let Titan come way closer than he should have in this game, as he was the one who sat on all the map control from the early game. Very nicely winning the early game in my opinion. So subpar from Diskraip, I would say, but then again a very, very nice early game, which likely gave him the game. Titans seem to be on top of the tactics, just not the economy game. It's a very nice done from Titan 2. Shows us he's a very strong player, but the eco game just has little to go on. In my opinion, Diskraip always seems to be ahead in terms of factories, in terms of fabers. So, but then again, no credit out of the player. Great players, both of them. A very, very good game indeed. 32 minutes. That is insane. But with that, Diskraip does take this game between Titan and Diskraip. 2-0 after 2 games. Titan will get a shot at redemption the last game, but it will only count towards tiebreakers, as Diskraip is the winner of this encounter, and with that, a prime candidate to winning the entirety of this division. So we will be back shortly after I've drinking a ton of water to witness the last game. So that is very, very exciting.